Hello. Welcome to the Take Care and Hustle podcast, where we explore embracing wellness on the path of success. My name is Devin Fitzpatrick, the author of Getting Started in Sobriety, founder and president of Lead Max Pros. I'm here with Martina, who is a purposeful person who walks in her purpose by giving back to the community and sharing her story of hope. Martina, welcome to Take Care and Hustle.
Take Care and Hustle. I love it.
You know, we're very intentional about that phrase, embracing wellness on the path of success, right? We believe that success, it's not a destination that you arrive at. Rather, it's a process that we live. Martina, I'd love to know, what is your definition of success?
Devin, my definition of success is purpose. That might sting a little bit, but purpose. You have to have a purpose in life. Everybody has a purpose, whether it's a teacher, architect, even if you work at McDonald's, customer service, you have a purpose because you're good at it. People don't realize that the reason that they're not successful in the jobs that they have is because they're not walking in their purpose. That's where the true success comes from. You have to have purpose. Period.
That's phenomenal. I love that because it's one word that encompasses such a larger idea, right? And it calls to the point that each of us has these innate, unique gifts and abilities. And if we're not capitalizing on those to contribute to the world around us, man, there's something in us that is just empty, that's unfulfilled.
Absolutely.
And so you're saying, hey, if we want to be successful, we've got to identify that purpose, maximize it, and share it with the world.
Yes. Sometimes we have to be even snatched away from what all we know and be put in a quiet place to understand our purpose. I, too, have been incarcerated before, and when I tell you the mind, the way the mind races when you are alone from everything you know and everybody you know and just the world, period, and you in this place and it's your mind runs, 1,000 miles per minute, literally, because it's always I should have done this, if I should have did that, what could have been different. But I tell you today that God will equip you for whatever circumstances that you faced. That was the purpose. The aha moment, the light bulb came on in prison. Like, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing. What am I supposed to be doing, God? Show me what I'm supposed to be doing. I started praise dancing, something that I never thought that I would do. And it brings me so much peace. So much peace. And so many people tell me that I'm so good at it. And I'm like, that's not me. That's not me. That's what he pours into me so that I can pour into somebody else. You know what I mean? So it's deep. It's deep. Purpose, once you tap into your purpose, you are a firecracker. Can't nobody tell you nothing. You know what to do. You know what's expected of you. So it's just living your life to the fullest, but also knowing what your purpose is.
You know, that's exactly it. Pablo Picasso, he once said that the meaning of life is to identify your purpose, your gift. Right. And the purpose of life is to give that gift away. And I can agree wholeheartedly. You know, when we're wandering around, we don't know what we're here for. It's like we're stuck. Right. But then sometimes there's a breakdown that has to occur before we have the breakthrough.
Absolutely.
But when that breakthrough happens and we get into alignment with the deep vibrations of who we are, what our identity was designed for, there's this unleashing that happens.
Yes.
Man.
And it's an incredible feeling because once you found out what it is, sky's the limit at that point. It's just like, okay, I can do anything I want to do because I know what I'm purposeful in. I knew that my purpose was to come home and to educate people about reentry and to give back and to work at halfway houses and to work at shelters because I'm so relational with these people. You know, just because I come in and look a certain way does not mean that I have not gone through many tests and trials and tribulations. You know, I still come up against them to this day, but I know how to carry them. I know I'm equipped today to know that, okay, you can handle this. It's just simple. Even if I got to go outside and hug my tree.
We're going to come back to that one later for sure. And, you mentioned the word equip, right? And by definition, it means you're given tools to deal with things, to solve problems that if you don't have them, right, it can be very difficult.
Absolutely.
And so I know a lot of the folks that you work with, right, they may have come from backgrounds. You yourself may have come from a background where you weren't taught those coping skills, those healthy coping skills to deal with the stress and the tribulations that every human is guaranteed. Now, in your journey, what are some of those tools that you've equipped yourself with?
I write a lot. While I was in prison, I wrote. I wrote and wrote and wrote. I think every time I went to commissary, I bought a notebook or 2 or 3 of them. And just when I came home, I did 3.5 years. When I came home, I had 18 notebooks. So it got gritty in there. It was like to the point where, okay, I got to let all of this out, because if I do not, I got to go home to these kids that are dependent on me. I'm going to poison them. If I don't fix myself while I'm in here, God has given me the opportunity to fix myself while I'm here. Why not take advantage of that?
It's like every scratch of the pen is digging away within ourselves. The author of The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, Robin Sharma, he calls journaling self-excavation, right? Because there's so much deep down in our consciousness that it's just laying there. It could be treasure, right? It could be toxic waste. And what we miss out on when we don't do that self-examination is a deep, rich inner life that is waiting for us if only we would look within.
Yep.
Sometimes it's difficult to do that without any form of documentation, but wow, journaling is a great tool. Do you freestyle, free flow on the pen and pad, or
it's just whatever comes to mind?
Whatever comes to mind.
If I'm feeling a certain type of way, I'm gonna grab that piece of paper and that pen, and I'm gonna write, till I feel like that it's all out.
Yeah.
If I need to tear it up at the end, then so be it. But I feel like getting it out of your system. Oh my goodness. You hold it in. There's so much toxicity with you holding it in. And then you walk around with the mug on your face and, all crazy. Somebody say something to you, you spaz out. That's not what we're doing today. We're not going to do that today. But journaling, it is so therapeutic. I color.
Yeah.
I'm 40 years old and I have a coloring book with, markers and I just sit there. The kind of work that I do, you have to decompress when you come home, because otherwise you would take the weight of the world on your shoulders, and we can't do that. We can't carry everybody else's stuff in our backyard, okay? So, coloring and tree hugging.
Let's talk about tree hugging.
Tree hugging. So there is a tree in the back of my house, and I read somewhere, can't remember where I read it at, that trees emit energy. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, they have energy, they grow. You see the process that it goes through: summer, fall, spring, winter. You see the cycle every time. And this lady said, well, if you go out and you hug this tree and you pour out into this tree can give you energy back. So I'm sitting there looking at the stuff like, lady, really? Okay. And it took me the first time to actually go out in the backyard barefoot, which is a grounding method. You go outside and you walk on the ground barefoot, and you hug the tree, and you manifest the tree. And I told the tree one year, if the energy that you put out into the world, can you put that in me? Can I bloom like a tree? It works. And the what I felt when I hugged the tree is like something that is not, you really can't explain it. It's not explainable at all until you do it yourself, and you have good intentions when you do it. Oh my goodness. The energy is unmatched.
Martina, I heard this technique a little while ago when you put me onto it, and I was a bit doubtful at first, and then I said, I've got to try this. Now, here's the thing is, the world operates in ways that science doesn't know how to explain yet.
Absolutely.
I think this might be one of them, because I tell you, when I wrap my arms around that tree, I put my heart against its bark, right, and just loved it, right? I could felt that it loved me back with that unconditional, unjudgmental, pure acceptance as a fellow creature of the universe.
Yep.
And that is something that I continue as a practice to this day.
Yep.
And so, if we're on the path of success, right, which sometimes requires sacrifice. Sometimes it calls for work that it's not just physically intensive, but it can be mentally or emotionally intensive. And it starts to, like the saying goes, we pour from our cup. I can imagine the work you do does that quite often.
Absolutely.
What are some of the other ways that you fill your cup?
I pray. I mean, sometimes it's just that simple. It's just to get a quiet corner and just say, hey, it's me again. Can you help me out just for today? It doesn't have to exceed today. Just for today, at this moment, just fill me up. Please, just, and sometimes it's just, like I said, it's just that simple, just to ask God. Meditation. I'm trying to get together a Zen room where we work at, and we need it because so many of our people are so angry. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, if we have a quiet place for these people to sit and just to gather their thoughts, do you know how much impact that will be?
Yeah.
Just because it's going to change everybody's mood. If everybody gets a chance to go back there for at least 15 minutes, it'll quiet the mood. It'll bring such a solemn peace over the building, because everybody's just going to be like, okay, we can work through this.
Right. We need those spaces. We need those quiet moments. And I mean, with all the things that go on in life, and for some, there's a whole lot going on, it starts to break us down. And if we're not equipped to handle those things, then it's like we're pouring from an empty glass.
Absolutely.
And I can only imagine how much despair, how much rage, how much loneliness comes from that. And putting those meditation practices in place, right? Taking the time to connect with the true, loving, good source of all that exists, right? There's power in that, right? Taking the time to examine our thoughts, to put them on paper. There's this interesting thing that happens when we write. We actually make 17 times more connections in our brain than we do when we type it on a phone. I mean, I am a folio file, right? I love paper just because when I write it just makes, it seems like it clicks. It clicks in my soul. And sometimes though, when life is really tough, or when the seasons change, or we face a disaster, a catastrophe, we really get down, right? Or maybe we're hustling a little bit too hard, not filling that cup. We get burnt out. We feel we're in a down place. When that happens, because I think it happens to all of us, how do you respond?
Sometimes when stuff just gets too much, I put on my praise dance skirt and I go in my living room and I dance. I'm so serious. Because I know that dancing takes me to a whole nother level. It's an elevation. So once the spirit is moving and I'm dancing, I forgot about what happened because, I feel so good because that's my purpose. I am supposed to be a praise dancer. Never knew that, but I've been dancing for 16 years and I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. That is my number one go-to. When stuff get rough or just cause, it feels good. Like who doesn't want to walk around feeling good? I like to walk around with a smile on my face and, be that light. Yeah.
It feels good to feel good, right? And the world needs that light. When we can be in a state to radiate that joy, that peace, that warmth and connection, right, that impacts the next person. Yep. The funny thing about self-care is that it's not just for ourselves. Because when I pass by you in the hall and I get that bright smile and that happy hello, right, that helps me. and that helps the next person. It's this interesting phenomena known as emotional contagion. The same way that a cold or a flu is contagious and can affect 3 or 4 degrees of people, right? It's the same way with our emotions. So when we practice that self-care, right, we're really doing it to spread that light in the world. And then you said, I'm so serious. I go out and praise dance. And all I was thinking to myself was, I'm sure it's pretty hard to be serious and take things too seriously when you're worshiping in such a fluid body motion that
absolutely
to do it well, you've got to empty yourself. And Tony Robbins, one of the personal development experts, he says if you want to change your mood, we have to change our state. If you picture the depressed person, their back is slumped, they're talking slow and soft. But then you picture the confident, happy person, it's the complete opposite. And he recommends, hey, imagine yourself walking around with a cape. It sounds so silly, but if you try it, you'll feel a little bit more confident pretty soon.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with dancing, right? When you get into the flow and the motion, then I can only imagine how your inner state changes radically.
Absolutely. I mean, just within minutes, just changes. You see, I got that at the top of this paper. Happiness is a mood. Positivity is a mindset. Ain't that deep?
Yeah.
Anybody could be happy. But you could be the most negative person in the world and still walk around with a smile on your face. Ain't that crazy?
Like it's a choice.
Pretty much.
Oh, man.
Ain't that crazy? Just.
And to that same point, I like to say that happiness, we have to make happiness happen, right? It's a verb rather than it is a noun, right? And so all the things that we've talked about, hugging trees, journaling, dancing, and the list that goes on and on, we have to find those things that truly fill our cup and help us to move forward and live that life and be that light. And speaking of being the light, I want to give a humongous shout out to 50 Way Studios for making this possible, right? Mr. Craig Thompson, hey, Mr. Craig Thompson is not only the sponsor of this podcast, but has created a youth optimization program, Yo 50 Way Studios, that helps as a diversion project for the at-risk youth, our black and brown youth who they don't have a lot of guidance. They don't have a lot of that direction in life. Right. And being able to access that, not just through sitting in a group and listening to somebody talk, but rather by creation. Right. Using creativity to find that place within themselves where they say, this is my purpose. Right. And so if you're interested in learning more about Yo 50 Way or 50 Way Studios, please contact Craig at 419-340-9581. That's 419-340-9581. And, the purpose, this is a concept that goes way back. And there was one man, a 19th century German philosopher, Friedrich Nietzsche, and he said the person who has a strong enough why can withstand almost any how. Right? Well, if you look at the victory of World War II, right, or of the civil rights movement, or anywhere across the world, the how there, it was a tall order.
Yeah.
But the why was so resolute, right? They could not be moved, and they were able to accomplish it, right? And when you think about your hustle, right, when you think about success as purpose, right, what is that why that motivates you to do the how?
I do this because people need to hear my story. You need to hear it. I mean, my story was so widely publicized all over the news, and just, it was horrible. You know what I'm saying? But I told my judge when I came home on judicial release that the next time you see me, it's going to be in the news for something good. And it's going to be great because he told me that I was great while I was in there. He poured purpose into me while I was in there. So when I came out, I was like, yeah, come on with it. Whatever you got for me, I am ready. I've had jobs that I've never was supposed to have with my felony. Never. ever. You okay? But by his grace and his mercy, I've landed jobs that, you know, it was just like, okay, this ain't nobody but him. Nobody but him.
Because when he says yes, no one can say no.
Period. Nobody can say no. It's like, okay, yeah, don't put your trust in man. Because like I said, and for all you felons out there that say that you cannot do it, false. Absolutely false. You can do whatever you put your mind to. I've been home 16 years. I now work at Cherry Street Mission Ministries, the best organization that I've ever worked for in my entire life.
Second that.
Oh my God, I love that place. And I've been there a year and I've gotten a promotion. You know what I'm saying? Purpose. You see the purpose right there?
Right.
I had something. I had a mission. I'm on a mission at Cherry Street Mission right now. I am on a mission to help eradicate poverty, homelessness, mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
You know, that's our mission statement, you know, and that's something that I have to uphold with integrity. You know, just like I said, all the things that I've ever been through, you know, I'm relational to all those people, all our guests in there, and they need to know that, guess what? If I can do it, you can do it. And I make sure that they know you can do this.
Yes.
You can do it. All you got to do is put your mind to it and you walk in your purpose.
Wow. Getting chills on that one. You know, I want to come back to something you said, how the judge poured purpose into you. And I'm thinking about how many of us have the opportunity to pour purpose into another individual, and how it's one of those micro assignments, right? And so when we're shining that light, when we're in our own alignment, so that purpose is radiating throughout our being, we've got to pass that on, right? That too is contagious. And to the point of being relational, man, I think that's really where it's at. You know, of course, there's individuals who their purpose is going to be isolated to, you know, the hard sciences,
right.
But for the most part, you know, we need that connection with others to be able to thrive, right? And especially when another word for purpose would be alignment.
Absolutely.
Man, it's like, you know, it's like we're this channel, right? And if we're off to the side, it's not going to flow through us the way that it needs to. But when we hit that alignment, that inspiration, that spirit of purpose just flows from a place beyond us, through us, and out into the world. And so I can only imagine how, you know, in those interactions, it's that living that purpose. It fills your cup.
Absolutely.
Even while you're hustling.
Yes, every time they come to my office, I get chills talking to them sometimes, because I'm like, okay, that's the best way to know that you're doing what you're doing, is because people come to you, people flock to you, like, what can I do? Well, what, you know, and like I've been working in the mental health correctional field for quite some time, and the amount of people that I know, like I can't even go to the grocery store. Hey, Miss Martinez, like, jeez, okay. But, you know, I love on them.
Yeah.
I love on them, even though they're gone and they're on their own journey, and they're doing well and they look healthy and their skin is glowing. I still love on them because they still need that love. They still need to know that somebody still cares. Just because you don't see me every day, I still care about you, you know? And that go a long way in itself, just to know that I still think about you from time to time, and make sure that you're okay. You know, that's what's wrong with the world. It's just, don't nobody care anymore. It's just
that one caring individual can truly make the difference. I was at a talk about, you know, suicide prevention. This guy jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and survived. Right. And he came back. He said, that whole time I was just looking for one person to care. And the more of us that take on that identity of someone who gives a rip, right, in a world that can be so cold and lonely, right, that can make the difference, right? Bumping into him at the grocery store and loving on him. And, you know, when you were in that quiet place, you know, for all those years, there must have been times when there was the despair, what's after this? How am I going to rebuild my life? And I know I've had those moments for sure. And those those times when the future is a black screen, there's no light, there's no hope. I think a lot of our listeners can relate. That's some of the worst.
Yeah.
It's one of the worst experiences. And so many of the pioneering psychologists, right, like Adler and Maslow and so forth, they said that a sense of hope and a sense of progress is indispensable to human happiness. Mm-hmm. Right? We have to have that. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, how do you find that clarity on your vision? Right? And what is your relationship with goals and how that keeps you motivated?
Well, first of all, I write everything down. I am a visionary. I have to write everything down. And sometimes it's a nuisance, but it's like, okay, I have to write everything down because writing things down drills them into my mind. I can't forget. If I wrote it down, I absolutely just cannot forget about it. So I tend to write down things, and I do the old method. I cross stuff off. If I didn't reach the goal, or I know what I need to do to reach the goal, okay, let's do this different way. Let's get a plan A, maybe a plan B, maybe even a C sometimes. But yeah, I write it down. Cross the goals off, short term, long term. That's how I was taught. You write the stuff down, you make it plain, and you carry out your plan. You execute your plan. It sounds simple, but nothing's simple. Understand that.
Right.
Nothing is just that simple. No, it's not. I mean, it takes dedication and it takes persistence to know what you want out of life. When you know what you want, like I said, the sky is the limit. I know what I want out of life. I know that I am put on in this situation right now, right here, to raise awareness of things that go on in the community that people just sweep under the rug. And mental health is one of them. We see it every day. I got called everything but a child of God yesterday. Well, guess what I went home to do? I went home to hug my tree because I'm like, I have nothing left today. I have nothing left today. So guess I'm about to go give me some energy, run home on this 30-minute lunch break real quick and just go hug the tree, and then I'll be right back. I was fine.
Is it the same tree?
It's the same tree.
Oh.
Yeah. It's the same tree.
It's a long-standing friendship.
Absolutely.
That tree's been standing a long time, too.
Yes, he loves me, and I love him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. So coming back to that idea of, when you write it down, it makes it more real. It's almost like if we write it down, it doesn't matter if we lose the paper because it gets stuck in our neural connections. And, there was this interesting study done by Dominican University where they found if we write a clear, specific, and challenging goal, we're 6 times more likely to make that thing happen than if we never wrote it.
And guess what, though? When you clear and concise with God about what you want for your life, He make things happen. He opened doors. Like I told you, I had jobs that I was never supposed to have. Like, really. It's like, how am I here? And a supervisor at that? Really? So, I mean, it's just what it is. You make your request known. You make them plain.
Yeah.
Unto Him, and He will make sure.
Right. And when we're acting in alignment with His will, right, he can move mountains.
Absolutely.
And sometimes He moves them through us.
Absolutely.
Yes. And so, writing down our goals, short term, long term. Do you also have a far-reaching vision that you've journaled about?
Yeah. I said by the time I have goals. Like, I want a Range Rover. It's the worst car known to man, but I want it because why not? How would that feel? Me rolling off the lot with a brand new, whatever color that I want. But guess what? At the end of the day, that's something that I work towards. So I don't care about the opinions about all that other stuff, but that's what I want. So that's what I'm going to work hard to get. That's my vision. I see it. I said by the time I'm 50, I'm going to have me one. I got 10 years, so I got a lot of work to do. But at the same time, I see it, and then I can touch it. It's there. I manifest it. It's there. So I just feel like whatever you want, like I said before, you can have whatever you want as long as you put in the work for it. Why not?
You know, I love that. Whether it's a Range Rover or being a homeowner or having 10 years sober or starting that business,
Yep.
you know, there's something funny about the desires that we can even try and get rid of them, and then they just come back.
Right back.
Right. The word desire, it comes from the Latin root that means down from the stars. Right. It's something almost like it was given to us. Right. And then Scripture validates that. Right. How it says he gives us the desires of our heart. And as long as we don't mistake them with those of the ego, the things that pop up and that we don't really want, they're false desires, but those things that we're truly after that are aligned with our purpose. Right. So long as we follow that, you know, my own definition of success is to demonstrate love for myself and for my family and my community, while staying in alignment with my vision and my values.
Come on, Devin.
And if I can live that out, right, what's not possible?
Come on with it.
You know? And it's something that once again, it happens through us. Man, I love that. The purpose, right?
Purpose.
Living our purpose. And sometimes it's almost like our purpose is living us. And you talk about the journaling and the manifestation, the visualizing. So something that's important here when it comes to the hustle and taking care is what goes on in our mind, right? Those emotions, the meditations that we hold in our heart, right? We become what we think about most often. It's almost like our mind is a garden. You know,
Right.
we've got to weed it out and then plant the seeds that we desire, right? And even Proverbs says, as we think in our hearts, so we are.
Yep.
So Martina, please enlighten us. What are some positive thoughts that we can hold in our hearts to create that inner life we want so we can have the outer life we want?
My fave, oh my goodness, he would never put nothing on you that you can't handle. When I tell you that, oh my goodness, and I still have to say that to myself this day, like, why is life lifing right now? Like, what have I done? But it's to make me strong. Hello. It's for your strength. You know, I'm gonna go give these to my strongest soldiers. I have been whooped. I have been beaten. You know, but I still stand. You know what I'm saying? I am still here. No weapon formed against me shall prosper.
Your head is bloody but unbowed.
Listen, I told them that in the interview when I got interviewed for Cherry Street. And when I tell you we were all crying in the interview, me, Jim, Nora, a mess, okay? A mess. I had these people in a mess in the interview, and it was that deep. But it's so true because no matter what comes against you, if you believe in a power that's greater than yourself, that you make it to work every day, no hurt, harm, or danger, that you can walk in your front door, nothing out of place, nobody's broken in, you got heat, you got hot water, you got food in your refrigerator. Come on. Man. Come on. It's the humility at the end of the day. You know, taking small things for granted, sitting on your porch, going outside, raking your leaves. You know, all of that could be gone in a split of a second. So why not give him all the glory now, right now, for what you have right now? My grandmother used to always tell me, you know, God ain't gonna never bless you with nothing else if you don't take care of what you got. And then, you know, I thought about that saying the other day and I flipped it. If we don't take care of this, the outer shell, the inner shell, the mind, what will happen?
The rest of our life will reflect that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important for us to cultivate that. Right? Like you said, I mean, there's so many things in our life that are worthy of gratitude. One of the challenges I give to myself periodically is, how long can I be grateful? You know, like here, I can make an act of gratitude. It'll last 15, 30 seconds, and then I get back to the default state. But when I do these exercises, I find that every single thing around me, every person that passes by, I could choose to be grateful for that. And it's something maybe our listeners want to try that out, right? Could you be grateful for 30 minutes straight?
30 minutes.
Yes, you can. It takes a little bit of focus, but man, when we start to embody that gratitude, you're right. You know, the Creator, the loving God, right? He sees that we've done well with what we have, and then more starts to come.
Absolutely.
Right? Even if it's the courage and the strength or the ideas or the innovations that lead to promotions, that lead to new business plans and breakthroughs, right? And with that inner life, some other things we can do are like when I'm in the shower, I like to call it a what if I shower? And I ask, what if I become the person that's always on time? Right? And then I'll sit with that thought and really dissect it, because that little 5-minute routine, it helps me to take on a new challenge, right? What if I pursue total self-mastery, right? Where I don't have those impulsive reactions or get angry at the little things. And so the what if I shower is just asking myself one really strong what if question.
That's deep.
I love the concept of just taking those little moments, right, that we do every single day and try to take and use them as opportunities to build up our inner life.
That's deep. I mean, just what if?
Yeah.
That alone, you ain't even got to put an end to that. It's just what if. It's like, oh my goodness, what if what? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep.
Right. And, when you talked about the vision, right, you said, you know, what do you want? Right? Like what do I want? And that's something I'd encourage our audience to really wrestle with. Yeah. You know, to sit with and say, what is it that I want? And then make that plan to go out and create it. So, Martina, if our audience wants to hear more of your wisdom, positivity, insight, and motivation, where can they find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Martina Jennings on Facebook. I do have a TikTok. I really haven't gotten too fancy with that yet, but it's coming. It's coming. But you could find me on Facebook with a little couple, motivational quotes here or there, see my beautiful face, but Facebook for the most part.
Excellent. And for myself, you can visit devonfitzpatrick.com, DEVONFITZ Patrick.com to get some more of my content. And until next time, my friends, live with purpose, take care, and hustle.
Hustle.
Cheers.